Hey, what's up guys? Luso here, Team D Plus Gaming, here to give you a new profile. This is going to be my Hunder deck profile. So this is a deck that's seeing a little bit more play. It's been topping a few things here and there, and the main deck for this is really budget. There's not a whole lot of high value cards in here. And so I'm just going to get into things and kind of explain it as I go along. First off, you have your 3 Thunder Seahorse, recently tinned, and this is your search card for the deck. You can discard this for 2 level 4 light Thunder monsters with 1600 or less attack, and so you can pitch one for the other 2, or otherwise you have targets of triple Pahunder, triple Mahunder, and triple Vylon Prism. And so with this, you essentially wait and you do a lot of searching and stack up your hand with Pahunders and Mahunders and hopefully a Vylon Prism, and then you just kind of go off all at once and completely overwhelm your opponent. Because Pahunder's effect is you can summon an additional Thunder type monster as a normal summon, if it's level 4, and Mahunder is the same thing with the exclusion of summoning them themselves, so you can go Pahunder to Mahunder to Pahunder to Mahunder all day long. You've got recycling batteries to keep looping that and going off, and you can just do an absurd amount of summoning all in one turn because of that. And then Vylon Prism is also a Thunder monster, level 4. It's a tuner though, so this adds a synchro element to the extra deck for a little more versatility for the deck. And then when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can pay 500 life points to equip it to a monster, and that monster gains 1000 attack during the damage step, whether it attacks or is attacked, which is really good, and that adds a lot to the deck. And so instead of facing down a 2800 Crimson Blader, your opponent's now facing down a 3800 Crimson Blader, and there's a lot less they can do about that, and because that gets over pretty much everything at that point. And then of course, since everything so far has been light, you're running Honest. And then to wrap out the monsters, 2 Cardcar D just for some additional draw power, because you'll see kind of as we go along, draw power is kind of crucial for this deck. Next up, 2 recycling batteries. You can add 2 Thunder type monsters with 1500 or less attack from graveyard back to hand, and so this kind of helps you replenish your hand after you go off, or keep going off depending on how they're used. Next up, triple Upstart Goblin, makes it a 37 card deck, helps you draw to what you need faster. Triple Duality, again, searchability, going into what you need. Triple MST to help get rid of back row before you go off, and kind of keep your opponent at bay a little bit. 2 Forbidden Lance, if you need to save your monster from something, or use it during the damage step to get around whatever your opponent has. Next up, Book of Moon and Dark Hole, both of those are just staples. And that wraps out the spells. Next on to the traps cards. So first up, 2 Fairy Box. This card's seeing a little bit more play this format, just because again there's not a whole lot of back row destruction. And without Heavy Storm being there, you don't really have to worry about it. Your opponent has to wait around to draw MST. And so, with this, you can set this and keep using it turn after turn, depending on what your opponent draws. And so with this, your opponent's always kind of nervous of what they're attacking into, because you flip a coin, if you call it correctly, your opponent's monster's attack becomes 0. And this is after, of course, it declares an attack. And so, this... there's a lot of advantage to running these, and I've definitely enjoyed using it. Next up, 2 Fiendish Chain. Again, negating monster effects is always good. 2 Mirror Force, keep your opponent's field condensed and lower. Compulsory Evacuation Device, Bottomless Trap Hole, Torrential Tribute, Solemn Warning, all of which are just staples and rounds out the main deck. Next up, we have the extra deck. So for the extra deck, you have generic rank 4s as well as a few specialized ones, and then level 8 synchros. So first off, Gagaga Cowboy, Abyss Dweller, Maestroke, Diamond Dyer. These are all generic 4s. Cowboy allows you to burn for game. Abyss Dweller can help shut off graveyard effects. Maestroke, Book of Moon, or just stay alive for longer and stall. And Diamond Dyer is spot destruction. So those are pretty standard. Next up, we've got 2 Starliege Paladynamo. This is 2 level 4 light monsters. you can take and detach 2 materials from it to negate an opponent's monster effect, and then reduce that monster's attack to 0. So this guy is kind of your go-to XYZ in the deck. And also, when he's destroyed and sent to grave, you get to draw a card. So I mean, you get to +1 off of his destruction, and it's just really good. Helps you keep drawing, helps you negate monster effects. Next up, an Evigishki Merrowgeist. So this is kind of a generic rank 4 that people forget about. And so when this one destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can detach one to send it back to the deck. And so generally with 2100 attack, that's not a real good one to go to. I mean, there's generally better out there. But the thing is with Hunders, you have your Vylon Prisms. And so you can take and equip one of those to this guy. And so then he goes up to 3100 attack. And so 3100 attack can beat over a lot of things, like Graphas, Garunixes, even like a Spellbook Magician, to put it back in their deck so they don't have a Spellcaster in grave to activate their field spell. I mean, there is a lot of benefit to running Merrowgeist in this particular deck. It does have a lot of merit there. Next up, 2 more XYZs are just generic. Blackship for sending things to grave to run Zen mains, and Photon Papilloperative, just put things back in attack position. Next up, moving on to the Synchros. First up, to help save your field, Stardust Dragon and Stardust Spark Dragon. And so, like, especially when you're going into the Synchros, such as Stardust, you can take and equip the Prism back to one of your XYZs that you made previously, as opposed to this, where it wouldn't last very long. And Spark Dragon is kind of individualized protection. Next up, Thought Ruler Archfiend. This gets around cards that target, plus helps you regain some life points. Colossal Fighter, just good for warrior matchups, plus it's hard to destroy if your opponent can't pop the monster. They have to rely on attacking over it. He just keeps coming back. Crimson Blader, there are matches like Dark World or Dragons where you want to put them under Crimson Blader so they can't special summon. And then last but not least, a Scrap Dragon. And so, I mean, this is good because sometimes when you go off, you'll have just like 1 extra monster left over, and so you can use Scrap Dragon to pop that and something of your opponents. Because, I mean, again, you just keep getting it back with your recycling batteries to continuing have fodder for him. And so this wraps out the extra deck for you guys. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions or questions, please comment below. Otherwise, please like and subscribe for more. Team D+ Gaming, signing out.